What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL, and this is finally here, the Season 2 playoffs. Our top 8 teams amongst our Rundle and Heinler divisions are now competing in best-of-5 format to see who the grand champion of Season 2 is. We've got 8 really excellent War Divisions players here, all very deserving of being here with excellent teams, and I'm excited to get into these matches with you guys. First of all, like I said, they are all best of 5s, and let's take a look at the bracket to see who is here. The Heinler 1 seed, undefeated series record throughout the season, Mccraine, coach of the Materia Hunters, versus the Rundle 4th seed and reigning Season 1 champion, SurfTaco, coach of Earth, Wind, and Fire. The second matchup for you guys today is the Rundle 2 seed Machen, coach of Shoopufs playoffs with the name change, versus Turimbar and the Fire Ferrets, the runner-up from Season 1. On the other side of the bracket, we've got the Rundle 1 seed, the stud Coppola, coach of the Gnostics, versus the Heinler 4 seed Dr. Dickhead, of coach of Problematic Name, another name change there. In the final series, we've got Ram 9, coach of the Rock Boys, versus Sandrooster, the Rundle 3rd seed, coach of Hidden Village of Regret. There are 4 best of 5s today. They are really awesome series. I can't wait to get into them. Before we jump into them, just want to give a huge shout out to the first ever member of our YouTube channel. I mentioned this in the video yesterday, but we recently implemented YouTube memberships. If you guys by any means want to financially support the channel and become a member, I very much appreciate it. It is obviously not expected whatsoever, but for all those who do so, I'm very grateful. Numero 80, thank you very much. That being said, let's jump into these series. The first matchup of the playoffs is none other than Mccraine, coach of the Materia Hunters, versus SurfTaco, coach of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And honestly, this is so fitting for a first series because we have Mccraine, who is basically the best record in the regular season of any team, versus SurfTaco, the reigning champion from Season 1. So it doesn't get more hype than this. Let's take a look at the new rosters from our playoff redraft. So these are units that we haven't seen these teams bust out yet. So Mccraine has Esther, Pissarro, Cloud, Gargus, Laswell, Moraga, Marial, Salir, Kadia, Severo, and Yerma. And on SurfTaco's side, he's got Astrius, Summer Jaden, Queen of Hornmashery, Setia, Miranda, Delita, Luartha, Dario, Cyrell, Uni, and more the merrier. Now, to talk about these picks here, first a couple of things. Mccraine in the Materia Hunters, first overall pick was Pissarro, so I would not be surprised to see him out there. Cloud was a unit that he got some run out of during the regular season. I'm very curious to see if we see Kadia come out. I know that Kadia was essentially picked here as a support unit. She was not drafted at all during the regular season, so I'd be curious to see if, she comes out and if she performs well. Yerma is another spicy pick from Mccraine. We have not seen her whatsoever. Can she come out and bring some damage? On SurfTaco's side, getting that Summer Jaden, which was Sandrooster's pick, putting in a lot of work throughout the regular season. Went back to his boy Astrius from Season 1, basically his MVP of the first season. Grabbed that Miranda, who is an absolute unit at 70 cost, and honestly has 3 different 70 cost units, so a couple of full UR teams, or 1 full UR team that he can bust out. So many different options from these 2 teams. I'd be very curious to see how it goes. I said in the draft video that I thought SurfTaco had one of the best teams out there. Same with Mccraine. I will say though, in terms of elemental, Mccraine might have a slight edge. Some of those water power picks that SurfTaco wants to bring out, running into a Cloud or Esther or Salir, can be kind of scary. So there is a Queen of Hornmashery on SurfTaco's side. Will we see that come out to combat some of the lightning? We'll have to find out. Let's jump into the best of 5 and see who won. All right, guys, the first game of the Season 2 playoffs is finally here. Mccraine showing that Esther with a 3,400 magic stat, and SurfTaco bringing out his first overall selection of Miranda with 4,000 magic stat. So what are we going to see here? A couple of magic units with Esther, trying to think of who would make up that 120 cost. Maybe Gargus, yeah, Gargus Kadia. So we are seeing Kadia right out of the gate. I wondered if we would see her as a heal support unit for Mccraine. You should be able to make use a little bit of that Dark Ramu card synergy here with the lightning and wind units, as Esther's going to get her AoE resistance buff on the party. Life of Longevity and Prosperity comes out for more the merrier, getting her re-raise as well as a couple of other things. And on SurfTaco's side, it is all magic, it is all good. It is Dario, more the merrier, and Miranda as the Black Rose Helena TMR comes out from Gargus. 3-hit barrier, some agility, and good fortune. So speaking of more the merrier, that is her TMR being used on the Miranda to get the shell online. Seeing a big magic stat coming out from Mccraine. Smart option, Keen Blade coming out. Some good CT manipulation here, as now you can see Katia is going to go, and then all 3 of SurfTaco's units are going to go next. Dual Veil, Dark, and Earth. Interesting. So that's really not going to do much of anything for the team here, but I suppose Katia probably doesn't have many other buffs to do, and if you want her to stay back, she kind of needs to use a buff. So McCraine probably keeping that online regardless. Courage going to come out from Miranda, so you're going to basically have to kill her twice. And the magic barrier from Dario, going to be useful unless it's Esther hitting him. Esther's going to walk forward though, and immediately Bunny Bolt Blitz onto the Miranda, the 1 unit with the elemental disadvantage, taking the damage here. How much does it do? 5,000, honestly, not that bad. And Miranda with her 140 upgrade now has that self-heal. It's basically as if Esther did no damage. This is why I said Miranda could be so damn good. Windlash finding all 3 units though and dropping AoE resist for all 3 is incredibly good for Mccraine. Sweet support getting agility on the entire party, but here comes the wrath of the taco. All 3 units right in a row. Meridian Channel 69. That is a nice amount of damage if you catch my drift. Miranda's going to go next. What is she going to do? Dispelling Thrust 3439 removes the buff, removes her. The bunny is now gone, and this is looking like a very solid start for SurfTaco here. Draining Seal 1533 going to heal Dario up to full. Gargus is a great unit though. What can he do? Miranda still has Courage online, but can he find an Arrow Gut on all 3? No, he actually goes for Flare on the tank, not the AoE damage. I don't know if that's what you want. Holy shit, 11,000 damage from Gargus onto Dario. Wow, Gargus eating his Wheaties this morning. Holy shit. Meridian Channel almost taking him out though. And now this is Katia's time to shine. You are the 50 cost healer drafted by Mccraine. What can you do? Curative Prayer 7,700 and removing debuff. That was a fantastic heal. And Resistance Break actually goes onto the Gargus, doesn't go for the Katia. Does Katia have hate down in her kit? I don't think she does, but they apparently go for Gargus anyway, and this might be the Aeroga. Gonna find both. Can they kill more the merrier, or pops the Courage and pops the re-raise? But honestly, if they can get rid of Gargus before they heal, I just don't know what Katia is going to be able to do in this situation. Gargus is going to drop. This is a 2v1 in SurfTaco's favor. Does Katia have damage online? She does. She goes for height 3, Holy Knight's Purge. She kills the Miranda. Wait, Katia, this is your moment. Can you pull this off against a more the merrier? I'm going to guess no. But with 2,200 health, I don't know. We'll find out. Meridian Channel, 5,600. It is not enough to kill Katia. You need to do 2,200 damage right now. She's channeling. Is she healing or doing damage? She's healing herself. Curative Prayer. I don't know. So, okay, 15 turns left. Can she one-shot, or can Katia just heal herself over and over again before this match ends? I think that's her only win condition. I don't know of a time where she's going to be able to actually do damage here. Right, because like More the Merrier is just going to keep hitting her. She's going to keep healing. I don't know who's going to win this because she can't one-shot Katia, but oh my god, she gets to auto-cure. This is her chance. She gets to attack. There's 9 actions left. She needs to be able to one-shot here. Height 3, Holy Knight's Purge, 2,900. Katia! Oh my god. That is insane. Mccraine pulls off the game 1 victory against SurfTaco with a Katia 1v2. It's not a full 1v2 because obviously 2 units were both low, but Katia with her first ever WDL appearance put on an absolute show. I can't wait to see what SurfTaco responds with in game 2, and let's jump into it. All right, guys, game number 2 between SurfTaco and Mccraine. We are hovering Big Daddy Astrius on SurfTaco's side versus the Gargus on Mccraine's side. Gargus did quite a bit of damage last time, did 11,000 to Dario, who is known as a magic tank. That is tremendous. Mccraine busting out the Mariel and the Cloud as double water coming out from SurfTaco says, yeah, I don't give a shit that you have lightning. I'm still going to bring my water units. Let's see how this goes. Astrius, he's going to go deep fortification, slash attack resistance up, max HP up, and HP absorb for himself. The self-heal will be nice. I will say Cloud probably nearing close to 100 like slash pen. Slash resist not going to be a huge deal as Mariel is going to buff the team and walk forward. 3-hit barrier again onto Gargus, same as last time. He's not the tankiest boy with only 6,600 damage, but we've seen that he can bring the pain. Courage again on Miranda with 9,300 health. I do wonder how much health she gets from her 140. That is a quite a large amount. She's a beast of a unit. In case I haven't mentioned it, you are not allowed to reincarnate in the playoffs. That is only a toilet bowl thing, so if you guys are not aware, as Dragoon's Pride comes out from Cloud, a TMR I actually love to use on Cloud. Gives him more movement, more haste, and Cloud really wants to just deal as much damage as possible early in the fight. He's not the tankiest fella, so if he can move forward, it allows him to get into whatever position he needs to get into, as Indomitability comes out from Astrius, giving himself some courage. So now there is double courage from SurfTaco's side, and now a 3-hit barrier on Miranda as well. And this team from SurfTaco, this is the team that I said was probably his scariest version. Miranda, Astrius, and Cyrell. What kind of damage can Cyrell do to Cloud? 5611. I've said before, Cloud's AoE resist is tremendous, but other than that, he is not very tanky. Windlash going to come out though, 7885. Just bringing the pain here, as Mariel is going to collect some hate. So she starts the battle with 5 hate initially, so she should have about 17, I think, right now, as Constricting Cleave comes out from Astrius, chunks her to about half, but Cloud is going to get to go next. He is going to limit break and just remove that barrier from Miranda. I have to imagine this brings her to courage, or at least very close. 84 something I saw on the crit. Gonna get the courage off and proc the self heal here. She's at 4,500 health, but what can she do for damage? She's gonna go Water Good Dispeller on the AoE, 5,400 on the magic tank, not a ton on Gargus as that barrier is coming through, nullifying quite a bit of it. Gargus gonna go for Windlash on the backline, remove Cyrell from the field, but Mccraine is in a 3v2 advantage and Cloud is gonna go next. Stunblade procs the courage from Astrius, and honestly, SurfTaco's up against it. Mccraine might have SurfTaco on the ropes already in 2 games. Deleting Astrius from the field, Miranda's a great unit, but I just don't see it here. She's going to have to find a massive AoE, and we saw she only did about 2,500 to Gargus last time. Water Good Dispeller, it is not enough to kill either unit, and Gargus should clean this up in what I would assume is a flare. No, it is an arrow, almost 5k, and Mccraine, undefeated in his series record throughout the regular season, puts a stamp on the playoffs as out to an early 2-0 victory. Our reigning champion from Season 1 is now going to have to try and pull off a reverse sweep to make it to Round 2. If anyone was going to pull it off, it'd probably be him. Can he do it, or does Mccraine just seal it in 3 games? Let's go ahead and jump into the next one and find out. All right, guys, game number 3 of this series. We've got Mccraine's Gargus showing and SurfTaco hovering that Dario again. So I have to imagine not double water this time from SurfTaco. He's going to have to find some success without him, and he brings out the Fire Ladies, the dual 140 fire missile units, Setia and Luartha. We have not seen a whole lot of Setia this season, and we saw basically 0 Luartha, the only showcase being from Turimbar when he played against Sandrooster in the tiebreaker. 2,800 damage coming out from Setia on both units. She still has 31 AP though. One massive thing with her new upgrades, she starts with more AP than she used to, so she is not as AP hungry. She should be able to get another ability off yet, as Keenblade going to come out from Mariel. But there is no healing from Mccraine's team, so if they can whittle down these units, they will not be able to heal the damage back up, which would be nice for SurfTaco here. Dario, you need to get out in front though. Keenblade is going to be a nice tech, but you need to move out of the way, which he does at least a little bit. Cloud can't find damage, so here's double resist. Missile attack resistance up, a very nice tech though from that Nightblade sub job. And Setia, can she find another thermal exposure? I don't remember how much AP that costs. Armor incinerating bow shot, a ton of damage. Honestly, only 17 AP. She's looking pretty nice with those upgrades, but Luartha, one of the problems with Gunner, just can't find damage on some of those height range abilities. Taunting spell from Mariel. And Gargus, what can he find here? If this is a Windlash, this might be over. Oh god. That is a lot of damage. Kills the Dario. Luartha barely survives. What kind of damage can you do with 54 AP? Rapid release. Kills the Cloud. Holy shit, Luartha actually come into play here, and Setia's going to go next. She needs to kill Gargus or get out of the way. Oh no, she needs to get out of the way. Unless this casting time takes too long, this is going to be Mccraine cleaning these two up. I expect an Aeroga here. Will they get enough time? No, they're not. Aeroga's going to come through, and that is going to double kill. Mccraine coming out and making a commanding statement in the first round of the playoffs, winning 3-0 in a clean sweep against the reigning Season 1 champion. GG's to both of these players. One thing I'll say is McCraine's team in the regular season was absolutely excellent. I said in the draft preview that I thought his team was very good, but it wasn't as good as his regular season. The only reason I said that is he didn't have Naya, who I think is absolutely broken at 40 cost. But McCraine has shown over and over that he is not a one-trick pony. He is very good at using multiple different kinds of units. He has drafted another excellent team, and he looks like he is going to try and win this whole entire thing with a commanding round 1 win. GG's to him, man. GG's to SurfTaco as well. Thank you so much for playing this season, man. Really appreciate having you. Looking forward to you in Season 3 as well. We've got 3 more best of 5s for you guys to get into. Let's jump into the next one. All right, guys, our second series for today is going to be Turimbar of the guild Get Swifty, coach of the Fire Ferrets, the Heinler 3rd seed, versus MaechenX of the guild Lucis, coach of the Shoopufs, Sweetheart. A little bit of history between these two opponents. They played in the regular season and the playoffs last year, and Turimbar ended up winning both of those series. Can MaechenX finally get his revenge here in the playoffs, or just does Turimbar just show that he has his number? We'll have to find out. The winner of this series will play against Mccraine in the next round, and let's look at the rosters. So for the Fire Ferrets, we have Halloween Lucia, Snow, Joker, Terra, Glaciella, Aerith, Luell, McLeod, Adelard, Murmur, and Ibarra. And then for MaechenX and the Shoopufs Sweetheart, we've got Oberon, Alaya, Zazan the Unkillable, Eliza, Ketone, Ildira, Winter Rabbies, Lorenzo, Nasha, Zazan, and Zoma. I did see in the draft preview videos, I thought both of these teams were somewhere between upper and middle tier for rosters. I caught some flack from Turimbar for calling his team a mid-tier roster, and he said he's out for blood to show that he's better than that. We'll see if he can make that happen this week or not. Just looking at the units, one big shout out here, some nostalgia, some picks from season 1 from these teams. Turambar and the Fire Ferrets had Joker in season number 1. MaechenX and the Shoopufs Sweetheart had Eliza in season 1, did not have her in this season. So both teams also grabbing Ketone, so both teams grabbing some units that they're familiar with from the previous season. You'll love to see that. One showstopper for both teams this season, like during the regular season, that they still got was Halloween Lucia for Turimbar and Zoma for MaechenX. So would not be surprised to see either one of those come out. I'm excited to see what happens here. Turimbar's got a couple of different things he could do with the double Fire Mage with Terra and Adelard, mixing in a Luell, Aerith, Glaciella, any of those units. He can run double Dark Halloween Lucia Joker with Murmur. MaechenX has Zazan, so he has unlimited flexibility with any sort of combinations between Oberon and Zazan, Oberon Alaya, Alaya and Eliza, Alaya Zoma. He's got so many options there, and he can even run something like Winter Rabbies with a couple of other units around those levels, Eliza and Lorenzo. That could be very scary. So honestly, both of these teams have a ton of options. We'll have to see what they go with, and let's jump into the series. All right, guys, game number 1 between these two teams. We've got MaechenX's Zazan showing in slot 1 here, with Turimbar showing the Joker in slot 1. So Turimbar bringing back his season 1 MVP of Joker. And what kind of team are we bringing out from Machen? Interesting. Oh man, this is Ildira Cheeseblade strategies. I think this is Keenblade along with Ildira Limb Break. I wondered why you would run Zazan with Ildira here, because it's below the cost limit, but that could be why. Spell of Fortification coming out for the AoE resist, the shield. Joker also getting Protect on the party as Keenblade comes out from Oberon, and I expect a Ildira Limit Break somewhere in this turn rotation. The CT from this is just kind of insane. They basically get like 2 turns right out of the gate for like the entire party. You're going to see this CT change, and there you go. So Zazan's going to go, and then both of the other ones are going to go next. This is Royal Knighthood's Pride, I think is what it's called. It's Agrius' TMR getting Protect and Shell onto Zazan. Ildira, what does she go for next? Padfoot. Haste and Hate down. This might be an offensive Ildira coming out from Machen. A very creative, like team player or strategizer, and Zazan goes again. This is that CT manipulation Shadowcast from Zazan. He's going to walk forward. Actually couldn't do anything with the height range apparently, as Ildira's going to walk forward, and this team is so fast. This is like their 3rd turn they've already taken, but can they get anything done with it? Flare comes out, 7,200 damage from the 40 cost Murmur, and Zazan is nuked right out of the gate. I'm not entirely sure what this is, if this is what Machen was trying to do. We'll have to see. Oberon Thunder Smite does break barriers. 2,900 damage, honestly not a ton, with that Protect coming out from Joker and Lucia's just physical bulk. Not surprising, but Height 2 Holy should do a good chunk. 4,300, probably not as much as Machen was hoping for. Sweet Support going to get that agility up on the team. Little Leela's TMR as Flare comes out on Oberon, going to kill his barrier. 5,300. And can Joker follow up with a kill? Maiming Slash, it is just enough to take him out. And now Ildira is in a 3v1. Gotta assume that this is probably a game 1 win for Turimbar here. Halloween Lucia should drop, but not a ton of damage to the Joker. And Ildira is a decent unit, but in this 1v2, I favor the Joker and the Murmur for sure. One-shot kill. It does one-shot kill, 7,600 damage, and Machen is going to drop in game 1. This is all making sense to me now. I will say a little, I can't remember, this might have been a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. But MaechenX did message me and basically asked if it's legal to run Ildira Limit Break and Keenblade, because he knows in certain formats that that is illegal in certain tournaments. It is completely legal in ours, so you are allowed to do that if you want. If you've drafted that to happen, you can. It was very interesting to see, but it probably didn't work as well as he was probably hoping for. He couldn't quite get in range to deal a bunch of damage right out of the gate, which is probably the only way that that strategy works. So if I'm guessing, we probably don't see that in game 2, but it was very cool to see in game 1 at least as a attempted effort here. We'll see what his adjustment is for game number 2. Second game of this series, guys, we've got Halloween Lucia showing, so she's coming again. MaechenX has switched it up with the Nasha in slot number 1, so definitely a very different strategy, a more standard strategy, it looks like, with a low-cost tank showing up with Winter Rabbies and Ildira. So more Ildira sightings. All right, but this time it might work a little better, as that is a full magic team coming out from Turimbar's side, and Halloween Lucia definitely is weaker to magic. She goes with that spell of fortification, Blessing from afar from Winter Rabbies, so she gets that 3-hit shield and AoE buff on the team. Earth and Invocation is always nice, getting that unit attack resist up on the entire party. As Adelard going to go for Sweet Support, he also has Fast Cast on his kit, so this Adelard is basically the person in charge of making this team go very, very quickly. Ildira Limit Break is going to boost up that CT as well. Will we see another Keenblade from Nasha doing the Cheese Blade strategy again, is my question. We do. So actually he's still doing that, but just in a different fashion with Ildira, Winter Rabbies, and a natural tank. This might work a little better than the Zazan rushing forward, as I think that was Resist Magic coming out from Ildira. Bells comes out from Winter Rabbies, so she has tons of AP, and she is ready to bring the hammer down. Nasha, what do you got? Sitting there thinking. Her AI doesn't want to make a decision, but she ends up going with the Courage, Paralysis, and Confusion Resist as well, as she's sitting there with 12,000 health. She is very, very healthy. Ability time reaction, or ability activation time down for Halloween Lucia. Rabbies can't get in the way to do any damage yet, as this should be a fast cast from Adelard. Resist Magic, so now it is on the entire party. With that job upgrade, now getting Spirit up and Magic Attack Resist up, as if there was a barrier on Nasha, I don't remember if there was, it is now broken if it was there. Devitalizing Glint breaks barriers, one of the reasons why Luelle is so damn good. Taunting Blade comes up though, and Nasha's got tons of hate and is out of the way of her party, doing a very much solid to her party members. I say that, Winter Rabbies runs right in the way of the AoE, I think, if this is an AoE. Holy Knight Hijinks comes out, throws down a Snowball Spirit Bomb onto Luelle, and takes her out immediately. So this is a very early advantage for MaechenX, trying to win a game 2 as Ceiling Thrust with that elemental advantage, destroying Nasha. Flare, I imagine, takes her out here, 6,600. That Courage crucially keeping her online. Does Ildira go for damage or a heal? She goes high 2 Kiriga, and my god, 9,000. I haven't seen Ildira heal that much before. That is very, very well done by Machen. Flare comes out again. Is it enough to kill? No, that heal looking massive from Ildira here. Another Taunting Blade, so she has so much hate, but she stays in one spot. Winter Rabbies, can she take anyone out here? Great Slash. Wow, that is a lot. I don't know if that is a barrier break ability, because Halloween Lucia still had some physical barrier online, physical health shield, but that chunked her and killed Adelard. Height-based water coming out, killing the Halloween Lucia, and a very good response from MaechenX in game 2. Happy to see that we're not going to see another 3-0 sweep here. At least a 4-game series, if not 5. These two teams, very good players, very, comparable teams, I think. So it'll be interesting to see what Turimbar brings out in game number 3 as an adjustment. Does he go back to his double dark team from game 1, or does he bring out something entirely different? Let's jump into game 3 and find out. Game number 3, you guys, and we've got Turimbar showing that Halloween Lucia, so sticking to his guns with that unit as MaechenX is going back to the Zazan, but I do anticipate this is probably double 100 cost or the double ice missile at a minimum. And it's Alaya Zoma. So this is a 210 cost team, but allowing Zazan to be able to run Keenblade with a Zoma and Alaya seems like a decent strategy as the double Dark Squad comes back out from Turimbar. Says, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm just going to go back and see if he has a response for it. And we'll see. Halloween Lucia goes with her pretty much standard buff rotation. Ice attack up on the party is going to be very nice for both Alaya and Zoma here. Oblivion's Presence is a very good ability. Gives himself a shield, HP up, and Bravery down is going to mitigate Joker's damage quite a bit if you're able to hit him. Padfoot comes out, so now there are double hasted units coming out from Turimbar's team. I don't remember this being the case in game number 1. Sudden End just destroys Zazan before he even can Keenblade, so the Keenblade shenanigans are not online here. Quickfire stance, as Alaya's not able to reach. She only has 2 standard movement, so she actually can't find a position to get up high to reach, as the limit break from Zoma, though, should do quite a bit of damage if this is in Halloween Lucia. It is almost one-shots, and a lot of debuffs coming out as well. Murmur looks like channeling a heal, or maybe this is a fast cast on herself. The reflex, though, oh my god. Sudden End misses Alaya. That is pretty massive, as now Alaya should be able to live till next turn guaranteed. Maiming slash healing power down does cut his reactionary self-heal, which could be pretty important. Quick fire stance again. Alaya still can't find a position. This spot on the map just really mitigating how much she can do. And honestly, does this end up being the difference? Because the limit break comes out from Halloween Lucia. This is probably enough to kill. 4,000 with the follow-up Arcana shot, and Zoma is going to go down here. And yeah, unfortunately, this positioning for Alaya is just kneecapping her so hard. The last 2 turns, she has done absolutely nothing. If she was able to hit, this could have looked very, very different, but this looks like it is probably Turimbar's Game 3 victory. Rending Tri-Shot will take out Halloween Lucia, and that is a very good ability for her because it breaks barriers and then does 3 hits, I believe. But Turimbar is going to take a fairly convincing Game 3 win. But again, it's hard to say. With that team comp Machen brought, I think that team could have potentially won if Alaya was in a better spot. She got stuck because Zazan was dead on the ground, basically being her only way out of her position. So the fact that that double haste comes out from Turimbar was absolutely clutch. Because they were so fast, they get across the map really quickly, kill Zazan, Alaya's trapped, and she can't do anything. So without that double haste, who knows? MaechenX very well could have won that. So does he stick with the same comp and switch positionings, or does he change it up completely, expecting Turimbar to change teams? Let's jump into game 4 and find out. All right, guys, the 4th game of this series. Does Turimbar win it in a 3-1 fashion, or does MaechenX bring it to a game 5? We've only ever had one 5-game series in the playoffs, and it was the Season 1 Grand Finals between Turimbar and SurfTaco. We'll see if this will happen. So it's Zoma, Winter Rabbies, Lorenzo. Okay. So the only person who's ever actually used Lorenzo in the WDL is Turimbar. So MaechenX is bringing him against him as Joker goes with the protect buff on everybody. The AoE resist from Halloween Lucia. And this is what I was talking about. Those are buffs that are just so damn good against physical units. Not going to matter a ton against the Zoma, but against the other two could be pretty impactful. Oblivion's Presence, though, Zoma just kind of hard nullifies physical units. So again, if they can get that bravery down on Joker, it mitigates his damage by about 30% or so. Keenblade coming out from Lorenzo. Blessing from afar from the Winter Rabbies. So she has a shield. Zoma has a shield. There's a lot of shields on this team. And remove Shell and Haste, I believe that's set on the attack. So if they go with the dual Haste and Zoma is able to hit them, that will kind of nullify that pretty hard. So a nice little tech coming up from Machen. I don't remember if that happened last game. I don't think it did. Arcane Assimilation, though, is going to do a ton of damage. I don't think she can one-shot him. Yeah, 3350 not going to be nearly enough. Does the self-heal happen? Frigid Wave actually removes the debuffs on himself and the buffs from Halloween Lucia, and it actually, he got his self-heal, so basically as if it did no damage. Horizontal Jump, I do believe Lorenzo has a barrier break in his kit. I'm not 100% sure, but he's not able to reach it. Just goes for a little bit of damage, which gets nullified by her HP shield, and this is the limit break. I don't remember if this is able to hit Murmur and Halloween Lucia, if it's an AoE. It is an AoE. Lands the Frostbite on both, drops Bravery on both. Zoma gonna chain up, limit break right back in a row with each other, 2 in a row. This looks like a fire and dark limit break. but eventually becomes ice, and my god, 10,000 damage into the Halloween Lucia. Machen says, not so fast. We're bringing this to a game 5, baby. There's no way Joker's going to win this 3v1, right? Swift Strike does a good chunk of damage. Looking at the turn order here, well, Lorenzo and Winter Ravies go next. That is not a lot of damage on a Joker. I don't think that is not a lot of damage, but the Bravery down could be pretty massive. Joker needs to pull a ton of weight here to pull this off, though. Swift Strike, that kills Zoma. I don't think he has enough in him. He goes again. There's no way. He kills the Lorenzo. Oh my god. Joker is hard 1v3 in here. Can she kill him in one hit? Crippling Cut, it is enough. 6,200 damage. Oh my god, that looked so one-sided for Machen, and Turimbar legitimately almost won that. Like, Joker did 3 AoEs basically in a row. Holy shit, that was actually very, very close. I thought for sure that was an easy clap, the way that was lining up, and Joker almost took it to a game, or almost sealed it in 4 games. Machen brings it to a game 5, though, so this is very, very exciting. Not every time or not every day that we get 5-game series, so I'm very excited about this. Wow, who is going to go up against Mccraine in the next round? Is it MaechenX or is it the upset with Turimbar being that 3 seed? We'll have to find out. Let's jump into the final game of the series. The final game of this series, you guys, and it is MaechenX's Zoma on the left, Turimbar's Terra on the right. And was this the long con by Turimbar, basically playing dark until he had to switch it? The ice coming out over and over for Machen, and now it is dual fire from Turimbar with the Terra and Adelard. Oh man, Terra is going to be very scary for these ice units, but can MaechenX overcome it? We'll have to see. Winter Ravies and Zoma are both very, very good units. Blessing from afar coming out again, so the 3-hit barrier going to be very nice. And Aerith, how is she built? The 3-hit magic shield on the party is going to be very nice for the protection against the Zoma. And it looks like probably... and actually not the exact same turn rotation coming out from Machen. Machen looking at it and saying, hey, massive magic attack stat coming out from Turimbar. I don't need the Bravery down. But the one thing about that is that means he doesn't get his 3-hit shield, although I think that might be a 3-hit physical shield. If that is the case, very well played by Machen and probably an extremely good decision. And yeah, now he gets a zombie re-raise TMR instead. This was a very smart adjustment from MaechenX. If you guys don't know, you're allowed to switch abilities on and off in the screen once you see what the attack and magic stats are, but that's mostly all you can change. Ceiling Thrust doing a chunk, but I will note it is not enough to proc the self-heal. If Terra is allowed to chunk him out, it might be able to just one-shot him before the re-raise comes out. 2,700 damage from Lorenzo, and this is going to be it. Crescent Riot Blade. Can she kill Zoma and proc the re-raise before the self-heal even goes off? Yes, that was a damage cap number, an absolutely tremendous amount of damage. He now finally gets to self-heal, but you really wanted to probably see that beforehand. I don't know. We're going to see Limit Break coming out from Winter Ravies. MaechenX is going to have to chain up damage right in a row, but this is a hasted up Terra. Will he get the opportunity? Barely cannot kill the Adelard, and that looks like it might be important. Healing Wind is going to come out from Aerith and is going to full heal him. She really needed to pick up that kill. Oh man, this looks like pretty optimal for Turimbar, I'd say, at this point. With a very low health Lorenzo and the re-raise and self-heal already being gone from Zoma. But the Limit Break we have seen do a ton of work before. How much damage does it do? Honestly, pretty good considering the elemental disadvantage. Stealing Thrust comes out only onto the Lorenzo. Not the biggest deal in the world. But if Terra can find Zoma here, Meltdown Plus... it is enough to kill the Zoma, and Winter Ravies is in a 1v3. She is a fantastic unit, but she would need to kill Aerith here because she's just going to be able to channel some sort of heal next turn. And I think this is going to be the heal Holy Prayer. Yeah, basically full healing her. This is probably it. Sonic Pulsar is going to drop the Winter Ravies, and Turimbar is going to get the Game 5 victory over MaechenX. GG's to both of these players. That was an absolutely fantastic series. I say upset victory, but honestly, like, both of these players are so damn good and the teams are so good. And it's only an upset in the sense that MaechenX had the better seed coming into this. They also completely redrafted teams, so these are not the same teams from the regular season. So I don't even know if that's valid to say upset. But regardless, I mean, both of these two teams and players are so damn good. And super happy to see a 5-game series from both of these guys. Turimbar very well deserving of it. And he said, hey, I didn't get to win it in Season 1. I'm trying to gun for it in Season 2. We'll see if he can make it to the finals. He's going to have an uphill climb next week against McCraine. But GG's, let's check out the last 2 best of 5s to see who else makes it to the next round. The third series of the first round of the playoffs, and we've got Dr. Dickhead of the guild Lapis, coach of Problematic Name on the left side here, versus Coppola of the guild Galleon, coach of the Gnostics. Coppola, one of the brand new players to our league this season, took the first overall seed in the Rundall division, looking very impressive the entire season, only dropping 1 series to SurfTaco. And Dr. Dickhead couldn't make the playoffs last season, but managed to sneak in there this season, and he's trying to make a name for himself in the playoffs here. Let's check out these rosters. So, Dr. Dickhead has Dwayne, Summer Elsie, Lightning, Lemure, Halloween Little Leela, Engelbert, Phoebe, Curry, Titus, Balo, and Regalia Glaciella. For Coppola and the Gnostics, we've got Dark Fina, King of Leonis Mont, Thancred, Lucio, Garvel, Orlando, Agrius, Fina, Slime, Sosha, and Sweetheart Salir. Now, for this series, honestly, looking at the units here, Lightning is an absolute beast. She's done so much work for me throughout the entire season. I think Dwayne is a stud at 90 cost with a lot of those upgrades that he recently gained. While Murray is a interesting unit with 80 cost. Like we've seen McCraine put her as an offensive option. She can get Hastaja on the entire team. And Halloween Little Leela, we've seen with some blitz strategies do a ton of work. And shout out to my boy Titus being a very, very good 50 cost tank. On Coppola's side with the Gnostics, he's got his boy Lucio, who did so much work throughout the regular season. Obviously, shout out to Thancred, 90 cost, has not been featured in any single game yet in the WDL. Will we finally see it coming out from Coppola here? Dark Fina is a beast. King of Leonis Mont with 140 is amazing. And I would not be surprised to see Orlando come out either from either one of these teams. Slime, obviously being the first overall pick of the playoff draft, I would almost assume that he will be out in this series in full force. There's a number of really awesome options for both of these two teams. We'll have to see how it plays out. Let's jump into game number 1 and see who won. All right, guys, game number 1 here between these two teams. There was no matchup preview screen, so I'm not entirely sure who is going to be in this match here. On the left side is Coppola. He's got King of Leonis Mont, Orlando, and Slime. And on the right side, we've got Dr. Dickhead showing Dwayne, Phoebe, and Engelbert. Okay, so this should be interesting. So the Crest of the Black Lion buff coming out on Orlando. He's going to have tons of AP, 11,000 health from Dwayne. He's not really a tank, but he's got the health pool for it, as he's going to run Bells and walk straight forward here. And Mont's going to run Keenblade to try and get that CT up on the party. This is a staple for Coppola's teams. And let's look at the turn order here. So Slime's going to go next, accelerate on the party. So this is something he likes to do. He likes to get Keenblade and he likes to get agility up on the entire squad if possible. And Phoebe can be using a ton of different buffs. Is this haste, speed force, or quicken? We'll have to find out here. And whatever she's channeling, it's quicken. Interesting. So it actually goes on the Dwayne. 2 units who I believe start with some initial hate. Actually, I'm not sure if Engelbert does. I think it's his first turn buff that does that, as Dwayne is going to buff himself and walk forward. Can't quite find damage from that quicken. Orlando going to go first, swordplay Thunder God, get haste on himself, and how much damage does this do to the Dwayne right out of the gate? Dwayne Quicken might have put himself in a vulnerable position, but we'll have to see here. 4,700 honestly tanked fairly well, as Orlando is kind of a beast of a damage dealer. I don't expect King of Leonis to do tons of damage, but here, this is interesting. He does have hate. Maiming Slash goes on to Engelbert. We've seen this from Jebba a couple times, running 2 people with hate. Basically makes it so that the other team has to like flip-flop targets each turn, as long as they're not caught in an AoE. And interesting, so Orlando's actually going to go for the Engelbert here. I thought he would have went for Dwayne, but 6,000 damage goes onto the Engelbert. Very, very interesting. Unless Engelbert is the only one with hate and maybe he wasn't close enough to catch the Quicken on the first turn. I could be wrong. That might be what's going on here. But who does this Quicken go on? It should be on Engelbert if he's the only one with hate. As the slash attack resist is dropped from King of Leonis, it is on Engelbert, so I think that's what was going on. I don't think he's running Dwayne's hate buff. I think he was the only one close enough, and I just didn't catch that. Retribution Drain going to heal himself up a little bit, though. And Dwayne, can he find a big AoE? He's got Courage removal, Re-Raise removal, and big AoE damage here. What does he decide to go for? Rising Slight just drops the dark resistance, actually. Does slightly more than the self-heal did from King Mont. What's going to happen here? Shadow Flare coming up from Slime. This is offensive Slime. He said, screw the healing. I'm here to do the DPS, baby. And Orlando with 42 AP goes for Hallowed Bolt Extreme, removes Courage from Engelbert, and this is looking very, very good for Coppola in game number 1 here. This is probably a Quicken, though, and Dwayne's going to go next. This isn't technically over. Coppola is definitely winning this, but Dwayne, if he can find some big damage... That is big damage. 11,000 health onto the tank is kind of insane. If Orlando can't one-shot one of these two, Dwayne will get to go next. Crush Armor Plus, that is only 3,300. That is not a lot. And Quicken goes on to Dwayne. He's going to get to go next. If he can kill Orlando, I don't know if he's able to one-shot. That'd be asking a lot. We'll have to see. Absolute Terror, this is his new VC move. Actually removes the Courage from Slime. And what is he going to go for? Hustle Dance +1 is going to be a massive heal. And yeah, this is still a massive uphill battle for Dr. Dickhead. Although Orlando doesn't have AP, can he do the same thing he did last time with Quicken coming up after Dwayne? The CT is going to work perfectly for Dr. Dickhead here. He might actually still pull this off. Absolute Terror comes out, a really nice chunk of damage. This Quicken is going to hit him next. And he's going to go again. Can Dr. Dickhead pull off this game 1 victory? It looked very one-sided in Coppola's favor here. But Eternal Darkness comes out, and that is a double kill. That is Dr. Dickhead's game 1 win. And wow, my goodness. I gotta say, it's not even that I'm surprised that he won. I'm surprised that he won given how that battle was looking. It looked like Coppola was way ahead there, and the CT worked perfectly with that Quicken. Sometimes you just completely basically waste the Quicken on the way that the turn works out. I don't know if this is anything that Dr. Dickhead had practiced, but exceptional job and very well done by him. Getting the Quicken to work out perfectly on CT, especially later in fights, is very, very hard to do. But it worked really well there. So we'll have to see what happens in game number 2. All right, guys, we just finished game number 1 between Dr. Dickhead and Coppola. I have some unfortunate news for you guys. So it looks like both of these players actually had recording issues in game number 2. So you're going to see in this title here, this is actually game number 3 between these two players. I am not entirely sure how exactly, what units were brought and stuff like that. All I know is that I was told by both players is that Coppola won game 2. So going into this video, it is 1-1 for both players. So just so you guys know, I didn't forget to post anything. It was just an unfortunate situation. There was some sort of recording issue between two players. So at this point, it is 1-1 in the series, and this is game number 3. So a lot on the line here. Coppola obviously must have switched something or done something a little differently in game number 2. We'll see what the adjustments are from these two players here. So Dr. Dickhead bringing Titus with a 3,000 magic stat, and Coppola still running that King of Mont Leonis. So did he bring just the same team as game number 1 and maybe switch up some positioning or some abilities or something like that? What was the adjustment from Coppola? Not entirely sure. But we'll see what he brought out here as we're loading into the game. And it is the same team as game number 1 from Coppola. So that makes me think that he might have actually won game 1 or game 2 with this squad. Maybe just with a positioning change up. As we said, like I said, he had an early lead. It was that quick and stuff that just happened to work out that kind of won him the game. And so Dr. Dickhead is bringing an entirely different team here, though, with Summer Elsie, Lemure, and Titus. So I'll be very curious to see what he can pull off here with that Hasteja from Lemure, as a very similar turn rotation coming out from Coppola as game number 1. Title calling going to use the raise the unit resist on the entire party, as it looks like this is going to hopefully be a Hasteja, but I don't think this is going to catch everybody. It's a little bit of a difficult spell to land on everyone, as Titus is going to walk forward. It actually only goes on Titus. I don't think that is what Dr. Dickhead was planning on. Orlando with 10,000 health is going to go with the zombie re-raise TMR, and he's going to walk forward. And every time Coppola submits a match, I just can't get over on how crystal clear his matches are. It is beautiful to watch. Claws of the Young King going to drop slash resist on Titus, but for being somebody who's not very slash resistant, a very good damage mitigation coming out from him here. And what can Summer Elsie do? She goes Sorceress's Liberation. This is Dark Fina's TMR, giving herself magic resist piercing and ability activation time down. Taunting Blade comes out. That's a very good TMR from Dark Fina. Unfortunately, can only be used by females, if you guys did not know. And Orlando, what can he do? He finds the Limit Break. This is going to hit both Titus and Summer Elsie. Summer Elsie is a tanky girl, but this is the elemental disadvantage. So he'll give himself some haste. Beautiful Limit Break. Oh my goodness. It's going to one-shot Summer Elsie, though, and this is looking very rough for Dr. Dickhead here in game 3. Mont going to go Maiming Slash, and honestly, I just don't see it. I don't think Lemure has full life in her kit. She might have Raise. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. She has Kurita, though. She's just going to go for the heal, and only 2,200, not going to be enough. I don't think there's enough offensive power for Dr. Dickhead to try and win this game 3. Orlando's going to go next with 72 AP. Can he finally get through this tank? Hallowed Bolt Extreme, 5,400, and removing the Courage is enough to get rid of Titus. And it looks like this is a 3v1 stomp coming up here. Lemire is a good unit, but unless she ate her Super Wheaties this morning, I just don't see it. She's going to channel a spell, and she does go for the raise. She actually lands the raise on Titus, who knows if he has 97 faith. The chances of that happening are probably not great, but he's immediately going to drop again right after he comes back. And Coppola going to look like take a 2-1 lead in this series. So if you are Dr. Dickhead in this situation, you are starting to think, okay, what can I do to try and make an adjustment? What kind of team comp can I bring out? If it was me personally, I'm just a huge fan of Lightning FF13, the unit. I don't know, maybe he tried her in game 2, I'm not entirely sure, but if it was me, I would probably try and do something like her, Titus, and Lemure. I know one team that's worked for me is Lightning Garvel Titus, and with Lemure, you could put Titus off on the side as a tank, basically have Lightning do her self buffs, and then have Lemure haste and quicken her, and basically just Lightning, fire off repeatedly. I do think that could be a very effective strategy. I'd be curious to see if that is something he brings out, or if he has something completely different planned in game 4. But let's jump into it and find out. All right, guys, game number 4 between these two players. So it is still Lemure coming out from Dr. Dickhead's side, and King of Leonis Mont on the left here for Coppola. So is Coppola just bringing the same team? He might say, hey, I don't think you necessarily have an answer for this. You might have gotten lucky in game 1. And yeah, he's going to still bring the same comp. He says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh my God, I think this is a double Quicken Halloween Little Leela team. This could be really interesting. I will say, though, Lemure was in slot 1. So is this something that Dr. Dickhead set up correctly? I'm going to have to find out. But if he does this correctly, they are completely stacked up here. This could be actually really interesting. There are 2 time mage units. I'm almost guaranteeing this is double quicken. Halloween Little Leela goes for level 4 Eroga already. And what is going to happen here? Lemure is going to go next. I'm almost certain that this is a quicken. And Phoebe's going to quicken her as well. I think. Quicken comes out on Halloween Little Leela. And Phoebe is channeling. Oh my God. Is this going to be pulled off from Dr. Dickhead? Level 4 Win Axiom is going to remove King Mont already. And here comes the Quicken from Phoebe. Oh no, it hits Lemure. This is what I was worried about, because Lemure is in slot 1. So unless she has Nullify Haste passive on, it's going to go on to Lemure instead of Little Leela. 8,200 damage comes out and kills the Little Leela. Phoebe does have full life, though, so this is not technically over. If Phoebe has full life on. If she does, this is still doable for sure for Dr. Dickhead. Phoebe, you need to get in range to get this off. What can she go for here? She stands still, so that tells me that she is not going for a full life. Oh man, and the Quicken just comes off. She might have everything turned off except for Quicken. And oh no, are they going to Quicken each other? Oh boy, this is rough to watch. Dude, this was so close to being so incredibly well executed by Dr. Dickhead. Literally, Coppola's team was set up all in a group so perfectly, like Halloween Little Leela just would have obliterated the whole team. And I have to wonder if Dr. Dickhead had practiced this beforehand. I know they got all their games done in a very short amount of time, as they're just going to keep quickening each other. I think he probably knows that the slot 1 unit is the one who is targeted by Quicken, so maybe something different happened in practice. I'm not entirely sure. But if you're ever doing this, you basically have to have the haste passive, or the time mage passive on that nullifies Quicken so that they don't do this to each other. And if Halloween Little Leela was slot 1, I have no doubt that this double Quicken strategy would have worked flawlessly, as they're just going to Quicken each other over and over. And unfortunately, I don't think Dr. Dickhead's going to have the damage. Although Shadow Flare comes out, I could be completely wrong here. It's going to drop AoE resist. That is not a lot of damage, though. And yeah, Dr. Dickhead's unfortunately not going to be able to pull this off, I don't think. Crush Armor Plus is going to come out from Orlando. And GG's to Dr. Dickhead, man. Honestly, dude, this was so close to being just insanely hype, and it just barely missed the mark with Phoebe's Quicken going on to Lemure here instead. Phoebe, what do you got here? What is she going to go for here? She can't Quicken anyone else, so she has some sort of other ability online. Is this full life? We're not going to get to find out. Slime is just going to go for Shadow Flare and remove her from the game. And it looks like a game 4 victory for Coppola. So unfortunate we couldn't watch game 2. I'm curious to see what would have happened or what did happen between these two players. I'm thinking maybe it was probably the same as, you know, game 1 team from Dr. Dickhead, but it's hard to say for sure. I'm going to guess Coppola brought this same team out all 4 games because he saw that, you know, there was an opportunity to win with this team. GG's to Dr. Dickhead all season, though. It was awesome having you in the league this season. It was, you know, an absolute pleasure and joy to watch all your matches. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And congratulations to Coppola for making the top 4 of the playoffs, being the first Rundall team to make it, as the first 2 teams were both from the Heinler division. So that being said, we have one more series to get into between Sandrooster and Ram9, and we'll see who wins and takes on Coppola in the next round. The final series of our first round of the Season 2 playoffs. It is Ram9 of the Guild Howl, coach of the Rock Boys, the Heinler 2 seed, versus Sandrooster of the Guild Get Swifty, coach of Hidden Village of Regret, the Rundall 3rd seed. And let's see what happens here. So Ram9 and the Rock Boys has Perrine, Urel, Renan, Raldor, Fryevia, Victoria, Kilface, Shell, Ramada, Surges, and Velric. On Sandrooster's side, he has Jaden, Sylvie, Little Lil the Bold, Shadowlynx on Ice, Whisper, Mashri, Rob, Shadowlynx, Shutsel, Livial, and Ryryu. A couple of big shoutouts here to talk about in this series. For one, Sandrooster went extremely heavy on light and dark. He literally does not have a UR unit that isn't light or dark. Like, all of his UR units are one of those 2 elements. This very much tells me that he believes light and dark is one of the power plays in this league. So is that going to be true or not? We're going to have to find out in this series. He did something very smart, though, with the cost of his team. He has all 100, 70, and 50, which means he basically picks 100, picks a 70, and picks a 50, and throws them all together in a team. Ram9 and the Rock Boys did his team very, very differently, as he does not have a single dark or light unit on his team, but he has a lot of very good power picks for their cost. Fryevia is an excellent magic tank, and one thing I will shout out, she might be the best magic tank versus somebody like Jaden in the entire game. That barrier that she can get online, basically nullifying damage by about 70%. She is very, very effective at shutting him down. Victoria and Kilfei are both excellent 70 cost units. Renan with his new 140 is an absolute beast. And Perrine, we have seen, especially from SurfTaco in the regular season, put in a ton of work here. On Sandrooster's side with that Sylvie, she's a beast. Jaden's a beast. Little Lil the Bold is a stud. I'm hoping to see some Shutseld action because I think he is underrated at 50 cost. We'll have to see what these 2 teams bring out. There are so many different options they could go for, and let's see what they decided on. All right, guys, game number 1 between these 2 players. We've got Sandrooster hovering the Whisper with 3,000 attack and 2,000 magic, and a very heavy magic team coming out from Ram9 with Renan showing in slot 1 here. So this should be very exciting. Let's see what these units decide to come out. Okay, so it's Whisper, Little Lil the Bold, Livial. So my question is, Livial, is she more offensive or supportive in this team? We'll have to see. Revitalize comes out from Little Lil the Bold, so she gets bells. She's going to have tons of AP. Interesting that she goes for that. So that tells me that she probably has her AoE buff offline. So something that Sandrooster decides he does not need to do. One thing I will shout out, Sandrooster sent me a screenshot before this series showing that he had a build where Little Lil the Bold had legitimately 130 agility. I'm not sure if that's this build, but that is pretty insane. We'll have to see if that comes out, as the Spellblade subjob buff comes out from Whisper, getting Spirit and Magic Attack Resist up on the party. And this looks like probably an offensive Livial, as that is the Dark Fina TMR. Triple cast coming out from Ram9, though. Lightning Blessing getting the shield online. Shield of Staves is another shield, and Guard Haste coming out on Renan. So the 2 power picks from Renan, or from Ram9, having 3-hit shields online and the speed up. Little Lil the Bold does now have Courage. And now we should be entering the fight very soon here. Can Renan get damage off? Not quite. Aurora Blessings. And this is what I was concerned about for Sandrooster. His team is so heavily into light and dark, even though they technically don't have an elemental counter. there's more light and dark resistance in the game from other, things, TMRs and vision cards than there is anything else. Energy Blaster comes out. I'm curious, does that mean that Sandrooster is an evasion team and that she's going for the direct guaranteed hit? Or is that just her best way of doing damage? We'll have to see. Heart of Flutter, Sweetheart Eldir, TMR coming out from Whisper. We'll have to see. So this is what I was saying, though. Aurora of Blessings upping that dark resist. We'll have to see how much damage the other team can do, but this is not a dark unit. Flare, Elementalist, 5,600 is very nice from the 50 cost Livial. We have not seen her at all in the WDL yet. Doing some really good work. Courage Removes goes on the Little Leela, but that was dodged. So this is an evasive Little Leela. She might be the 130 agility move that, Sandrooster showed. Double haste removal is pretty big. Now, both of these 2R units are not spit up anymore. Energy Blaster going to catch the whole team, though. Livial is going to drop. Little Leo the Bold is low. And my question here, too, is, does Ram9's Renan have the Kododama sub equipped right now, as Knight's Blessing, a very good TMR from Ram9 here on Shell, getting a 3-hit barrier refreshed and full heal onto the Renan. Quadra Break comes down and lowers a ton of stats and increases her own slash attack pen. But if this is Kododama sub and he goes for the AoE guaranteed hit, he doesn't. I think this just got dodged by Little Leo the Bold. So the evasion from Sandrooster looking pretty big here up to this point. She still has Courage online. That gets dodged, does barely anything to Whisper. So even with a 3v2, this might still be Sandrooster favorite if he can take out Killfay. She actually goes backline and takes out Shell, though. She still has Courage, and I do not know how many casts that Killfay gets of Energy Blaster. I'm sure it's at least 3. This is the 3rd one coming out, but does she have a 4th? No, I'm sorry. I forgot the Courage removal happened from Renan earlier. So even though he missed, the Courage removal happened, and that actually ends up being massive because now Energy Blaster takes her out and she is not able to do damage. So even though he missed, the Courage removal is basically as good as getting a hit. And now Whisper is a really good unit. We saw SurfTaco's Whisper pop off at the last week of the regular season, but she's going to have to do something like that to win this. Bursting Light does 2,900, and Killfay is just going to lap. She only has 6 AP, though. Can she get a kill? And 578, but Renan is going to go again. So even though Little Leela might have a ton of agility, it doesn't seem like Whisper's got it. Unavailable Pain will take her out. And this is a Game 1 victory for the Heinler 2 seed, Ram9 and the Rock Boys. So a couple of things to shout out real quick here. One, the Dark Resist buff seeming to do a lot of work here for Ram9. And one thing that he did very intelligently, one problem with Little Leo the Bold is she doesn't have barrier breaks. She's an exceptional unit, but she doesn't have a way to break barriers, and she doesn't have a way to chain. So the one way to counter her, if you're looking, is to get barriers, because they just mitigate her damage so much compared to any other means. She can dispel a lot of things. She has lots of penetration, but she can't get through barriers. So 3 hits on both Renan and Killfay is massive, and getting Dark Resist is the really only other way to mitigate her damage. So with those 2 methods coming out from Renan, or from Ram9, in game number 1, was a very smart move. We'll see what kind of adjustment that Sandrooster has for game 2. Game number 2 between these 2 players. Sandrooster's Whisper coming out again, but will it be a different team? Ram9 hovering the Ramada, so this is definitely going to be a different team comp. Something pops up. I don't know what language that is. That is probably either Chinese or Japanese, but I'm not even going to speculate. As this is Whisper, Jaden, and Ryryu, so double missile plus Whisper coming up from Sandrooster. Very interesting. So March of the Stag, I kind of like this. Ryryu should have gunner buff abilities, which means he can either increase Jaden's range or crit chance, and it is aimed fire. So effect range up, missile attack up. Jaden did walk forward pretty far though, which I'm not entirely sure that's what Sandrooster wants here. And it's going to be Victoria, Freyevia, and Ramada. So actually this is a pretty cheap team. This is only 200 costs in our format, but all 3 of these units are very good for their cost. So we'll have to see. So Whisper gets her main tank buff online, and she walks forward in front of everybody. Ramada, what does she have? One thing about Ramada is that she's a very good unit, but she doesn't have a lot of penetration. So if it is into Whisper, she probably won't do a lot of damage. But into something like Jaden, she could hurt quite a bit. A track barrier comes out from a Freyevia. So hate up and a massive magic shield, going to mitigate Jaden's damage quite a bit. This is going to break the barrier though. Rotary Magic Cannon is a 3-hit attack. The limit break from Jaden is his best method of getting rid of that. so it doesn't do a ton of damage. She will proc her own regen counter, but the next hit from Jaden should do a lot more damage if he is able to do that. Armbuster comes out from Rairu. 4,900 damage is actually exceptional. Does not land the disable, unfortunately, for Sandrooster, as Protection Break comes out. And Freyevia is still tanking very, very well. She will most likely drop to the very next hit, but she has honestly done her job to this point. This might be a massive AoE coming up from Victoria, though. We've seen it before. Dragon Dive is going to one-shot the Rairu, finds the AoE. Fortunately for Sandrooster, though, Jaden untouched to this point, and Whisper very healthy in the front line here. Freyevia probably going to look for Spellveil Blade. Not sure if she can find that angle. Actually, no. The support AI from Freyevia doing Ram 9, a huge, solid, a 3-hit barrier. This is going to be so hard for Jaden to get through now. As Magiblast Plus comes out, he's only got 28.3 AP, and honestly, this looks hugely favored for Ram 9 here. I thought this was Sandrooster's fight to lose, and now that Night Blessing just turned everything on its head. Drill Shot comes out, 3,800 is really good damage, gets his missile attack piercing rate, but he is completely out of AP. Whisper, you need to get out of the way. She does intelligently. She breaks the 100% shield from Victoria, gets out of the way. Can Sandrooster still find a way to scrap his way through this fight to... Oh my goodness. Ramada, the 50 cost unit, Earth and Glory, just destroying Jaden. And yeah, this is Ram 9's fight to lose. He's looking to take an early 2-0 lead in this series. That Knight's Blessing was everything, legitimately. Like, that was so massive. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Maybe Renan and Victoria just win it anyway, regardless. But it's hard to say. I don't know. I think that was a massive thing for Ram 9, basically trying to win him this game here. Vacuum Slash comes out, 560, doing very, very little. As I said, she's not going to do much to Whisper because she's a huge tank. Ramada really only does a lot of damage to backline units, but she showed that she can do that to somebody squishy like Jaden. And Ram 9 says, hey, there might be one Get Swifty member in the next round, but I'm going to try my best to not allow another one in. He is up 2-0 in this series. SurfTaco was down 2-0, and he ended up losing game 3. Can Sandrooster do better? Can he pull off the reverse sweep? He's going to have to win the next 3 games to make it to the next round, but Sandrooster is an incredible player. We'll see if he can pull it off. Let's jump into game 3. All right, guys, game number 3 between Sandrooster and Ram 9. We've got Little Eel of the Bold showing 3,500 attack, 1,800 magic. Ram 9 showing the shell in slot 1. So what else is behind the shell? Is he running Quicken strategies, or is this just for haste support in the back? This is Perrine Ramada Shell. Interesting. So this seems like a buff the Perrine comp, Super Perrine. And this looks like an evasion comp coming out from Sandrooster here. Is it supportive Machery, or is it just damage Machery? Illusion coming out from Shadowlynx. And we saw this team be pretty dodgy in game 1. One thing I will say, I believe Ramada's Vacuum Slash is guaranteed hit. And Perrine's Subjugating, or is it Subjugating Fist? I believe it is called that, is guaranteed hit, but she only gets like 3 casts of it. This new upgraded buff from Machery is fantastic though. Max HP up, it nullifies about like 10 different statuses, and also gives a 50% shield 1 hit on the entire party. So one of the hits that comes in is basically only going to do half damage. It is a very, very useful skill. And Machery can actually do quite a bit of damage with her Hallowed Ray ability. So we'll see if she gets an opportunity to use that. And Little Eel of the Bold's immediately going to go for the limit break. If this blind lands, it is going to make Perrine basically guaranteed to have to use her guaranteed hit to hit anybody. 4,900 damage. The blind does not land though. So will she be accurate enough to hit them with something else? It also could be a trap. If she's accurate enough where she thinks she can hit with something else, she might go for that and might still dodge. We'll have to see what happens. So Shadowlynx going to go next. Dark Haze, 3560. Another blind not landing. So it looks like Perrine must have blind resist in her kit, or Ram 9 prepped for that. Subjugating Fist, 4210. I'm actually surprised that Shadowlynx lived that. She gets a lot of AoE resist, but not a lot of unit. As the Quicken comes out from Shell, the buff the Perrine comp. What can she do? Subjugating Fist again. So doubles up, goes twice in a row, takes out Shadowlynx, but she, I think, only has 1 guaranteed hit left in her kit at this point. Will she have enough to get this team? Armor Piercer comes out. Honestly, tanked pretty well by Machery, and again, Little Eel of the Bold dodging. Delightful Destruction comes out. That's going to take out Perrine. Honestly, I don't know how Ram 9 wins this here. I think this is a game 3 victory for Sandrooster. I don't know how he's going to be able to take out Little Leela as, wow, the Monk, I think that's Monk sub-job from Mashri getting the revive. That's an amazing tech. I absolutely love that from Sandrooster. And that actually healed a ton of health on her. Dark Haze comes out 33. That will land the blind on Shell. Probably not going to be very important. But this is a 3v2. Little Leela's just going to standard attack to get some AP. Slow counter goes off. Actually doesn't land, though. The slow is resisted. Ramada, what can you do here? Vacuum Slash. So that is going to take out the Shadow Links for the second time. That is the guaranteed hit. And that is the only win condition that Ram 9 has at this point. He needs to Vacuum Slash the Little Leela the Bold, or else he has no chance whatsoever. Shadow Flare comes out, kills the Shell. So the Quicken user is gone too. Who's going to go next? It is Little Leela. Can she take out Ramada here? Delightful Destruction. Oh, yes, she can. 7,200. Sandrooster says, not so fast. I am not about to get swept. Brings it to a game 4. And if Sandrooster can win this game 4, then that shit gets really, really interesting. So if you're Sandrooster, do you end up bringing this exact same team into game 4, or do you switch it up and try to bring back to this team in game 5 if you make it? I'm very curious to see what the adjustments are from these two teams. Let's jump into the 4th game and find out what happens. All right, guys, game number 4 between Sandrooster and Ram 9. We've got the Mashri showing again, and Ram 9 going back to Fryevia. One big red flag I'm going to say for Sandrooster looking at this screen. That is a Fryevia, and that is a completely magic comp coming out from Sandrooster. And, oh my god, I know what this is. Sandrooster prepped a game versus me with this team. I completely forgot about this. This is the most ridiculously insane heal comp where they're just going to heal a ton in this fight. I'm curious to see if this pays off for him. Calamity Stronghold comes out. Mashri has heals. Sylvia has heals. Livial has heals. They've got re-raises or full life and revive from Monk Subjob. This is going to be interesting. Can Ram 9 do enough damage to get through this comp before they run out of AP? We're going to have to find out here. So Bells comes out from Victoria. Magic Barrier from Killfay. And that's the other thing, is that Killfay has Spellblade Subjob and a Track Barrier coming out from Fryevia. I just don't know how Sandrooster is going to do enough damage with these magic shields. Livial looks like actually is going to go offensive. This might be Stonega, and it has a chance to poison, actually an increased chance to poison. It does. That's actually pretty massive because Poison's probably going to do more damage than she is against this team. Clever Paladin Strike, only 960 as the regen comes through. That is not what Sandrooster wants to see in this game 4. Mashri's going to go next. Hallowed Ray finally gets the last hit of her barrier, so she will be taking quite a bit more damage in the future here. Victoria's going to go next, though, and this looks like a massive AoE. This could spell doom for Sandrooster immediately if this hits all 3. Staff of Augmentation from Killfay, magic attack up, HP Absorb. I didn't even know she got that. That might be a 140 upgrade. Not entirely sure here. Spell Veil Blade, gonna hit all 3. Regenerator on the Sylvie, though, so she sees... Wow. Okay, so both of them get their counters. They say, hey, we see your counter, Fryevia, and we get ours as well. Shattering Dive is 12k onto the Livial, though. It's not an AoE. It just kills Livial, so that is good in terms for Sandrooster. This is probably a full life coming out from Sylvie. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is going to be bad for Sandrooster. I think this is a full life that's going to miss. Yeah, because Revive is instant from Mashri. That is not what he wanted. That's basically a wasted turn by one of those units. And I don't know if you can afford that. So Victoria's going to go Hazard Break. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of damage. Sylvie probably going to go Limit Break here for a heal and a shield. I imagine she's going to go for that over full life. I'm pretty sure her AI says heal first. Yes, it does. Make a wish. This is 1 turn barrier and a big old heal. But if she can get this heal off and then Mashri can revive again, then they could have all 3 units back up and healthy again. So we'll see. Killfay's going to go for damage, but it's going to be absorbed by the barrier. Energy Blaster comes out, only 2,500. Not a ton of damage. Fryevia probably going to go for a Spell Blade or Spell Veil Blade. Is that enough to proc a heal from Mashri, or does Mashri go for damage or the revive? She goes for revive. So that is exactly what Sandrooster wanted to see, and this is part of why I said this team is kind of insane. It's really hard to kill because like everybody can revive each other and heal each other and stuff. It's kind of insane. True Paladin Strike comes out from Sylvie, finally starting to do a little bit of damage. But it's just so hard to get through this team. This Ram 9 team is literally built to combat magic damage, and that is exactly what Sandrooster brought. Spell Veil Blade actually starting to do a good chunk now. Regenerator comes out again from Sylvie. Mashri's going to go next. And what does she go for? Hallowed Ray, 2500. I don't see a way. I think the only way Sandrooster can win this is literally somehow to go to turns. I don't think Victoria's going to let that happen. She goes for the limit break. Enchanting Trap, there's going to be a lot of damage. And if the charm goes off, man, that limit break animation is really damn cool. Oh, that is the double charm with a kill. And this is going to be all she wrote for Sandrooster. I think Ram 9 is going to finish this off right here with a standard attack from Kill Fate. Ram 9 looking impressive all season. Ends up winning the game 4. Incredibly well done by Ram 9 here. Honestly, just a great series by both of these two players. Hats off to both of them. Sandrooster, you know, congrats to making the playoffs. It was awesome seeing you. Looking forward to seeing you in season 3. That was our final series for today, though, guys. And let's check out the bracket and see how it looks. All right, guys. So after the first round of our playoffs, this is how the bracket is looking. Mccraine and the Materia Hunters with the 3-0 victory over the defending champions of what used to be the Ed Sheerans last season and then became the Superines and is now Earth, Wind, and Fire from SurfTaco. They're going to be going up against the Ferrets of Turimbar, eking out that series 3-2, a fantastic series versus MaechenX and the Shoopufs playoffs. Materia Hunters versus Ferrets is a banger matchup, and I'm really excited to see that next week. Two Heinler seeds going at it face to face. Coppola and the Gnostics with that King Mont Orlando slime team looking really impressive, winning 3-1 against Dr. Dickhead and Problematic Name. He's going to go up against Ram 9 and the Rock Boys, who honestly look very, very impressive. They won 3-1 against Sandrooster's team, the Hidden Village of Regret, and honestly, Sandrooster's team looked pretty damn good. So the fact that he won that 3-1, I think, is really impressive. I think these are 4 players and teams that are very well deserving to be in the top 4. I want to point out real quick that both in the Toilet Bowl and in the playoffs, 4 teams, like the top 4 from each were 3 Heinler teams and 1 Rundal team. And the only Rundal team making it was the highest seed remaining for each. That was me in the Toilet Bowl and then Coppola in the playoffs. If you guys haven't seen the Toilet Bowl already, spoilers, earmuffs for this. I did end up making the finals for the Toilet Bowl, so it is me versus Spike in the Toilet Bowl finals. Can Coppola do the same thing and keep Rundal's hopes alive, making the finals against Ram 9 and the Rock Boys? He's got his work cut out for him. Ram 9's team is really damn scary. Honestly, though, any one of these 4 teams could win it all. It should be a really, really awesome playoff run, and I'm excited to watch it with you guys. So I'm not entirely sure when the next video will come out. Wednesday is when the matches are going to start, but again, they are best of 5s. It depends on how fast people can get them done. It should be out sometime next week, but I'm not entirely sure when. I do give people a little more than the typical timeline that I give them to get their best of 3s in, because it is more games. But we'll have to see, man. This playoff bracket is looking really, really hype. I'm excited to see who ends up being the grand champion of the Season 2 playoffs. It's really exciting. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody who watches these videos. It means the absolute world to me. I'm excited to watch the Toilet Bowl finals, or be a part of the Toilet Bowl finals anyway, and I'm excited to watch these top 4 teams go at it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.